We have a few days rest remaining in Mostock before we will have sufficient fuel and tanks again in order to launch Lager advances. I'm frequently in the repair shop and have become somewhat friends with the mechanics. They know our steel battle horses inside and out, but they haven't had to prove themselves in combat yet. Though I think that way everyone does his part. And even if the man would like to go face the enemy, the repair unit officer would not be thrilled to lose his men in that way. As a non-commissioned officer, I'm underway in the unit, but not much has changed. The other crews, whom I've known for a long time, remain the same and treat me as always. The old sergeant and master sergeants have happily congratulated me, and all came to the consensus that it was long overdue. After the evening with Schmidt and the Sarge, the following day was really a bit strenuous. But the cold air brought about by the approaching winter can set one's head straight again really fast. Several letters I had written home. Of course, I had to share it right away with my father and also with Gudrun that I'd been promoted. It can't get any better. This was finally some good news. After the situational meeting, we are standing together with mixed feelings. We have come so far already, but somehow it's not going any further now. There are fires everywhere, and the leadership cannot make up their mind what should happen next. Push further to the east, or rather advance in the south and encircle the opponent. What about Stalingrad? And so on. Minor and moderate successes of our units seem to be yielding an incorrect impression of the situation to the divisional staff. As soon as an advance is reported with a number of prisoners or captured material, we are to keep following up right away so that the Russian won't be able to rest. But the Russian will then throw all forces to this location of breakthrough, concentrate the anti-tank guns, and we catch ourselves a bloody nose. This way we don't get anywhere here. If Stalingrad isn't in the bag soon, it will get tight in the north. In 2 days, it's going further again. My crew is back together and we'll get our number 3 back soon. Of course, I'd like to continue on in a long barrel tank, but another tank gunner has been assigned there as a replacement. The platoon leader would rather have me as a commander, not as a gunner. In the afternoon, I'm back inside the repair shop and help out Herbert with some welding on the turret. We make good progress, and it's fun for me to help out there. I'm standing sideways by the turret, holding the hooks with some pliers. Herbert is welding them in place. I'm not even looking at it, and I'm holding on to the turret hatch with my right hand. That, however, isn't latched and slams shut. My hand in between. A hellish pain. I also let go of the pliers. The steel hook falls down on my foot. I pull that one out of the way and trip backwards over the toolbox. I fall. And then dark night falls upon me. When I open my eyes, Herbert and 2 other mechanics are looking down at me. I'm lying halfway on the rolling crane, and my right foot is horribly twisted. Blood runs into my eyes. The man helped me up. I'm hooked under arms. Off it goes to the medic. After 10 minutes, we are finally arrived at the medic station, and the chief physician has my head wound dressed by the medical sergeant. He feels along my leg. It does not appear to be fractured. While under a lot of pain, he applies a splint with a tight wound wrap around it. The head wound still needs stitches, so the sergeant gets going. After 5 stitches, that is also taken care of again. My hand apparently looks worse than it is. All fingers still here, but badly bruised. The tendons also seem okay, and the doctor does what he can to take care of the hand. I also receive some pain medication. After a good hour, I'm lying in the field hospital, and the pain isn't too bad anymore. Herbert stops by and tells me once again what happened. He'd already thought I was dead when I impacted down below. A foot more to the right, and I would have fallen right into the iron rods which were pointing upward. That'd be something. 2 years on the front line, and then by accident in the repair unit, deceased due to stupidity. That would just be embarrassing. But well, I was lucky, although I think I won't be able to drive my tank with this. 2 weeks no deployment, remarks the staff physician. That will make the platoon leader really, really happy. Just promoted, and now he lets himself fall off a tank in order to not have to go to the front. No, no one would say that, but it's nevertheless aggravating. The next morning, my crew comes over. They can't hold back their laughter. The tank ace from the Terek, or the stumbler off the turret hatch. Herman jokes around. But everything's alright, and in 2 weeks it should be well again. In any case, then I will be able to sit inside a tank again. Schmidt stops by and tells me that the captain is not thrilled, but bad luck was just bad luck. After 3 days, I'm finally able to get out of the field hospital on crutches. I'm on light duty, and I'm supposed to make myself useful in the regimental office. There I'm able to sit and help the Sarge with the paper battle. There's a lot going on these days, and one gets to hear about lots. One day Lieutenant Fuchs comes by, sees me and also has to grin. He asks whether I had too much to drink after my promotion, that I had fallen off the crapper beam. I clear up my misship, and the lieutenant gets a cup of coffee from the Sarge, because then he has to go to the captain. We chat about the situation, and the lieutenant tells how things went with the little traders. It was a poor rabbit hunt. Small and quick are the boys, but we had the entire sector blocked off. They couldn't get out of there, he explained. They also had their pants full, knowing that the time had come. Together with the pioneers, we later reached their hideout. We had to go through the sewer system, really tight tunnels, and of course little surprises there for us. But the pioneers disarmed everything, and we were able to smoke out the rat's nest. After the firefight, we discovered 3 men, certainly partisans, and also 2 dead children. A radio set and a lot of papers, which these little thieves had likely stolen here and there. Another 8 children were apprehended, and all quickly confessed that they had to work as spies, or else their families would have suffered. I look at the lieutenant thoughtfully and ask whether the boys had been shot. He shakes his head. Of course not. They were all sent 150 kilometers behind the front, and now have to work in the supply train as helpers. We took care of this without the SD. How fortunate. And I had already thought, were there any losses on our side? I'm still inquiring as the door opens up and the captain now asks the lieutenant to come in. 2 lightly wounded, but nothing serious, he quickly adds and walks into the captain's office. The Sarge and I nod to each other. Came out well after all for the other children. Fortunately, I didn't miss a large planned assault either. Shortly before the start of the attack, a reconnaissance unit had been broken up by a Russian tank unit. They had camouflaged themselves well and placed anti-tank guns in flanking position. That way the boys were not able to get out of the anti-tank gun corridor. They lost 4 vehicles and 16 men. Due to the begin of a hailstorm, the first that I'd ever seen here in Mozdok, the survivors had been able to disengage from the enemy and were picked up by armored personnel carriers while under artillery fire. Nice crap. The Russian is plunging the holes faster than we're able to attack. The next day I'm on crutches on my way to Schmidt when artillery fire is laid down on Mozdok. They'd never been this close. There must be a gap somewhere. Quickly I hobble along, but nevertheless I have to throw myself into cover twice. So I'm not showered with shrapnel. Afterwards I look like a piglet, but I arrive at the Sarge unscarce beside my injured hand and the useless foot. Here's a lot going on. Reconnaissance planes are now supposed to locate the artillery pieces and, if possible, drop a few bombs right then. That's just not acceptable that Ivan is edging our nest right here. 3 hours later, a few bombers under fighter cover take off toward the southeast and will hopefully get rid of the Ivan. Toward evening, it's announced that the Russian batteries had been eliminated by bombing and nobody there would be firing off anything else. Well then, I hope it will stay that way. Staff duty is also quite pleasant for once. Warm shack, hot coffee, and Schmidt always has got something tasty for us to eat. He remarks that he'd have to go along on a few attacks sometime. After all, he'd also like to get his tanker badge. He was also a radio operator and had had training for the tank's radio system. When the Sarge hears this, he has to laugh. You don't hear a thing anymore since the mortar hit on the radio hut. That's the reason you are sitting here, remarks the Sarge, laughing. Not true, counters Schmidt against this. Only one ear is deaf. With the other one I can hear like a field mouse. I hear everything. I promise Schmidt that he will be able to make his frontline experience with me. I will talk to our radio operator. The days pass, not much is happening. The supply arrives drop by drop. We prepare ourselves for a winter in Mozdok and its surroundings. The thing with the oil fields won't happen this year. But wait and see. Who knows what else might happen? The army group might possibly still be reinforced and we might use the frozen ground in December for the final push. Next year I would actually like to be back home. But well, for now just making use of the damaged wing again and putting pressure on the foot. Then the rest will just work out.